Good afternoon. My name is Caitlin, and I'm here with my team members Mike, Nadine, John, and Kaylin, and we're here to discuss with you the 4 strategic opportunities available to Rejuvenating Spa Incorporated, as well as our recommended course of action. We'll begin with a situational analysis, as well as our assessment of the 4 strategic opportunities available. We'll conclude with an implementation plan for our recommended course of action. In order to develop a full understanding of the company and the industry it operates in, we completed a situational analysis. The company has many strengths, one of which is their highly trained staff, who are able to provide personalized services to their customers, which increases customer loyalty. The company has also branded themselves with a focus on health consciousness and has maintained their core values while growing. We noted that a key portion of their customer group is considered middle class, which means they have a higher level of discretionary income. As far as weaknesses, we identified the following. The company is charging prices lower than industry average, which has an impact on revenue. Their shareholders tend to be busy with their personal business endeavors and therefore have a limited amount of time to devote to RSI. We noted that there's a high level of staff turnover, which impacts both customer satisfaction and is costly to the company. And finally, we noted that the company is facing a lawsuit and does have a few financial reporting issues. We noted that there's some opportunities for the company outside of the 4 strategic options that will be presented later. The company has the ability to expand their target market, as we're seeing an increasing number of men visiting spas and trends towards tourism-related spa visits. We also note that the company has very strong customer loyalty. We identified a few threats to the company. Given that spa visits are considered a luxury good, it is highly dependent on the state of the economy. Since the financial crisis in 2008, we noted that 2012 was the first year that we saw an increase in the number of spa establishments. Given that RSI operates in a highly competitive industry, we noted that there is a downward pressure on price. This gives customers both increased bargaining power and lower switching costs. And finally, we noted that the organic products regulation might have an impact on operations, and that impact needs to be assessed. The company has the following 4 strategic options available to them: a financial statement consolidation and partial operation consolidation with Lavish, franchising of RSI branded day spas, partnership with FFL, and acquiring Pure Substances. We noted the following criteria which we use to assess our recommendation. First, are they in line with the company's mission and vision? Does it help to improve brand recognition? Do these opportunities meet our growth targets and constraints? And finally, what resources do we have available in order to move forward? Kaylin will now discuss our first strategic opportunity.
So the first strategic option for RSI is to consolidate with Lavish as one brand identity. So we have analyzed the qualitative and quantitative aspects of consolidation and have concluded that the consolidation of RSI and Lavish will prove beneficial for both operations. Pros. Since RSI and Lavish have separate mission and vision statements, consolidating the 2 operations will allow the company to have one strategic direction. Moreover, having one centralized decision-making structure will strengthen the company by providing for a cohesive strategy. Lastly, since RSI and Lavish have similar support functions such as accounting and administration, combining the 2 operational departments will allow RSI to save on costs, especially in overlapping operational expenses. On the con side, operational differences in the company's policies, employee skill sets, as well as accounting policies will cause friction between the 2 entities that may result in loss of customers or employee dissatisfaction. Moreover, RSI currently does not have a bonus program, while Lavish has a bonus program in place. So in order to have equity in the consolidated company, RSI will need to implement a company-wide bonus program in order to incentivize the employees. On the quantitative side, the companies are more profitable individually rather than consolidated. For example, RSI's earnings as a percentage of revenue is 27% on its own, while consolidated, the earnings as a percentage of revenue is 7%. On the balance sheet side, the company is in a stronger financial position in the consolidated financials. This will prove to be beneficial in the future when the company is negotiating debt with banks, as loan covenants as well as collateral are often based on total assets. Lastly, the company will have minimal financing requirements for consolidation, as RSI has already purchased Lavish. Based on our analysis, we believe that consolidating RSI and Lavish will prove to be a step in the right direction in terms of expansion as well as growth. RSI and Lavish will issue one consolidated financial statement as well as consolidating their operations. Lastly, we recommend that RSI consolidate with Lavish immediately, as this consolidation process requires minimal financing. Now John will talk about the second strategic option.
The second strategic option is the franchising of day spas. First pro of this option is that it is in line with management's growth goal of expanding geographically across Canada. Second, it allows RSI to grow geographically much faster than it would otherwise be able to by leveraging the capital of potential franchisees. If RSI were to grow organically, it could not grow nearly as fast as if it were to do this franchise option. Third, RSI can capture market share by becoming a reputable brand in the industry, again, aligning with management's goal of becoming one of the top spa brands in Canada. Finally, RSI can leverage specific franchisee knowledge. Franchisees who have experience in the spa industry from before, take that in operationally, and then leverage that across different franchises. However, there also may be some risks with the franchising option. First, franchisees may have different values than RSI currently. RSI may have troubles maintaining its current high standards across all the different franchise locations, potentially risking damage to its current brand. Second, this expansion option may overwhelm the current capabilities of management. Franchise expansion requires a significant investment, time investment by management, which they may not have the capability to do right now. Third, RSI's current location gets a high level of foot traffic. Future potential franchise locations may not have such a high level, potentially diminishing the profitability of those franchise locations. And then lastly, screening for potential franchisees is very costly and time-consuming. Moving to some qualitative and financing factors, we calculate it to be approximately 8 franchises to break even with startup costs. Now, these 8 franchises do not need to be implemented at day one. They can be phased in across future years. Second, we calculate that it would take approximately 5 franchises to sustain run rate costs. Lastly, according to our calculations, franchisee profitability is primarily dependent on the number of therapists. This is to be considered operationally during expansion. Moving to financing, we calculate approximately $250,000 in startup costs and $65,000 to run through the first year of operations. This is within RSI's current financial capabilities. Moving to our recommendation, we recommend that RSI postpone this opportunity for approximately 1 year in order to integrate the FFL partnership. RSI should use the integration knowledge gained to better understand the resource requirements and best practices when during this franchising opportunity. Lastly, RSI should focus on improving its internal controls, potentially hiring a controller in order to maintain its current standards across all the franchise locations. Mike will now discuss the third strategic option.
RSI's third strategic option is to enter into a partnership with Forevermore Fit Limited, or FFL, who operate 25 fitness centers across Canada. The benefits to investing with an FFL are A, it provides rapid expansion with relatively low risk. B, it offers an already existing customer base. C, it should improve employee retention, as employees will now have an opportunity to take on other roles within FFL. And lastly, it provides a diversification of product which further mitigates the risk. The cons to this partnership are that RSI will have limited branding within FFL. So for example, customers could be going for a massage and not recognize that as an RSI treatment. Secondly, it is highly dependent on the financial success of FFL and their current visitor volume. For example, if membership rates decline, this is going to hurt RSI as well. Lastly, although it does look like an attractive investment right now, there is still due diligence that has to be done to ensure that FFL is providing RSI with accurate information. We will now look at the quantitative analysis for the FFL partnership. There are 25 centers, 7 large centers and 18 small centers. There will be 4 therapists per large center and 1 therapist per small center, operating at a 75% utilization rate. Under these assumptions, there is projected net revenue of $477,000 per large center and $104,000 per small center. The largest cost driver is that the therapists earn 45% of all therapy revenue. We will now look at the return on investment. So the required investment capital for RSI for all centers is $210,000 in the first year. Based on the assumptions I noted above, the projected net profit to RSI is approximately $846,000. This provides us with an overall ROI of over 3 times in the first year. Based on this analysis, it is a very attractive investment. Based on both the quantitative and qualitative factors, we believe that RSI should go through with the FFL partnership. We believe that first, a partnership would be beneficial because it will decrease the startup cost and make it easier for administration purposes. However, a couple of years down the road, we believe that a corporation would be beneficial both from a tax standpoint and to reduce the liability risk. We also believe that RSI should negotiate some branding with FFL so that when customers are using RSI services, they know in fact it is associated with the RSI brand. Lastly, we believe that Lisa Wiley should be the first choice to represent RSI in this partnership, as she has the most experience with the fitness industry. Once negotiations are finalized, we believe that RSI and FFL should move forward with the partnership immediately. I'd now like to pass it off to Nadine.
As you have heard, we are recommending 3 different strategic recommendations for RSI to implement going into the future. As you recall, Caitlin mentioned that there was actually 4 strategic options to choose from. We are not recommending the 4th option of acquiring Pure Substance Inc., as it is at high risk of not being profitable and it is not a good fit with RSI's vision and mission statement. What we are recommending for RSI to implement is the lavish consolidation, franchising of RSI day spas, and joining in a partnership. We're also recommending acquiring the funds to do these 3 strategic options from Blair Cummings, rather than going to the bank, as the bank will implement too strict of debt covenants that RSI is not going to be able to adhere to. Just to summarize, the implementation timeline that we are recommending is as follows. Immediately, we recommend consolidating Lavish and RSI's financial statements and also entering into the partnership agreement with FFL, as long as the agreement for the partnership is desirable and settled in the advantage of RSI. From 1 year from now, we then recommend starting the franchising of RSI, starting with 4 franchises. 2 years from now, we recommend evaluating the franchise process, and if it is going well, we would recommend opening 4 more franchises to come to the total of 8 franchises that are needed in order to break even. So implementing all of these strategic options and recommendations that we are making, that leads us to your updated vision and mission statement. The updated vision statement will be to become the reputable leading spa for Canadian spa goers by growing RSI's brand geographically. The updated mission statement is to provide exceptional client-centered spa and therapy services to enthuse clients in an atmosphere that is relaxing and in a manner that is environmentally friendly and sustainable. We changed these mission and vision statements to focus on the overall goal of expanding RSI geographically across Canada so it becomes a household name for all spa goers. And we updated the mission statement to bring the focus point on environmentally friendliness and also sustainability, as this is a core focus of today's culture. Thank you so much for your time for listening. We're so excited to see RSI grow and flourish into the household name that we know it can be.